Hi everyone, my name is Liz Marie and I am a freshman in NYIT and I'm currently studying psychology. Today I will be discussing three things with you all, including an image reaction, my feelings towards Socrates, and a comparison between Socrates and a modern day philosopher. So first up with the image reaction. When I first saw the image, I was definitely reminded of family reunions and the summertime. It definitely made me miss the summertime a lot and just the feeling of family reunions where you're kind of catching up with family members that you haven't seen in a while and everything just feels so nostalgic. So that's how I felt towards that image. In terms of Socrates, I think that one of the most interesting things about Socrates is that everything that we know about him isn't discussed through him. It's through people who knew him or who learned about him. So, with that in mind, I think that in a way, having his story be told through people other than himself made his story have less biases because it's like if I were to tell you all my life and tell you all my life story, I would probably leave out a lot of the bad things just so that, you guys don't look at me a certain way. So having that little comparison between me and Socrates, I think that him having had his story told through other people, they're obviously not going to leave out the bad parts because why do they care how people thought about Socrates? I mean, then again, there were also people who really idolized Socrates, so they probably, in their accounts left out some of the bad things. But I think that through a lot of the accounts, we got to see how annoying Socrates was in his way that he questioned everyone and chatted their heads off about different theories and just like what they thought about different things. So I would definitely be very annoyed with Socrates. I don't think I'd be able to sit down in the same room as him just with the perspectives that we have about him. I can barely make it through a 5 minute conversation with people. So, yeah, really just like having to be questioned constantly about questions that I just answered, like I would definitely just lose my mind. In terms of things that Socrates has done himself, I think one of the most admirable things he's done is die for his beliefs. To be at the brink of death and still stand by the things that you believe in is something that I know that I myself wouldn't be able to do. I think death is something so scary, but Socrates' way of thinking was like there was no need to fear the unknown. So I think that in itself just very much contradicts me. I'm very fearful of the unknown. So to have that way of thinking, especially at a time where almost everything was unknown, is like very admirable. In terms of comparing Socrates to a modern day philosopher, I believe that he's very comparable to a Slovenian philosopher called Slavoj Zizek. Please forgive my pronunciation on that name. They're very comparable because both of their approaches to their beliefs is very provocative. They kind of pushed other people to kind of get their perspectives on things. And instead of supplying comfort and reassurance to people about different things in terms of the government, they kind of push people out of their comfort by, I guess, in a way, explaining things in truth, even if those things were supported by information that we already have, or if they weren't, and they were just things that that person assumed, Socrates. Another thing about Zizek is that he, very much like Socrates, he contradicts and reveals all of the contradictions, or most of the contradictions, within the government. So Zizek focuses on nationalism, capitalism, liberalism, and amongst many other things within our government, while Socrates obviously was revealing things or contradicting things within Athenian government. So they both contradicted their governments, and that was one of the main things that I found comparable between them. And another thing that is comparable between them is their approach to certain things. So Zizek is known for applying humor to things, while Socrates, he was known to kind of present himself as a fool. It's what a lot of people viewed him as. So instead of, I guess, in a way taking it as an offense, he used it. I think that when you approach someone in like a humor, like with humor and like almost making yourself out to essentially be a fool, it makes people more comfortable to kind of say their thoughts. It's like if I were to be approaching someone and I wanted to know what they thought about our government because that's essentially what we're mostly talking about. I'd kind of ask them questions as if I knew nothing, and based on their tone, what biases they reveal, and just like what information they do know about it, I feel like I'd be able to learn a lot. So, in presenting myself as the fool, as Socrates would have, you get a lot of information out of people. And then with Zizek, in terms of presenting yourself with humor and approaching things with humor, it makes people feel more comfortable. So that's all of my thoughts. I'm happy to hear everyone else's. And that's it for now. Bye, guys.